In the 1800s, a journey began that would span generations and shape the future of Brampton. This is the story of Estelle Blackburn, a woman whose life embodied resilience, community, and leadership.
My name is Lenore Skinner, but I'm known as Diane. I'm the oldest daughter of Estelle and Austin. My earliest memory was when I was 3 years old, moving from Bathurst Street to Ossington Avenue. And I just slightly remember I was very young, but that's where we spent most of my childhood.
I am Robert Bob Blackburn. I remember that my mother always was a very gracious host, and that continued through her life.
My name is Angela Blackburn. I'm Estelle Blackburn's youngest daughter, youngest child. She was a trooper, a real trooper. She loved foraging, going out, getting wild mushrooms, leeks, puffballs, bringing them home, frying them up. She loved to fish. We used to smelt fish down at the Port Credit. Oh yeah, that was a weekend get-together.
Estelle's roots trace back to Solomon Levi Earls, who was married Sarah Ann Earls, an English woman, and together they raised 12 children. Estelle was born in 1915, the second youngest in this large, loving family.
Guess what, everybody? It's Easter Sunday. Yay! I don't know about you, but when I woke up this morning, I just said to myself, the same resurrection power that raised Christ from the dead got me out of bed today. And for that very reason, I'm going to rejoice. I'm going to be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. Do I have 1, 2, 3, 4 people who can rejoice and be glad in the day that we celebrate the resurrection of our Lord and Savior today? Woo!
My name is Tanya Miko, aka originally Tanya Blackburn, and I am the second youngest grandchild to Estelle and Austin Blackburn. About 6 months after being here that I actually drove this way and saw Campbell Drive and recognized and realized that our church is actually in the same community that my grandparents came here as the first modern Black family in Brampton. And for me, that just hit me in a different way. And that we're continuing the legacy that they started of community, of family, of food, of fun, of fellowship. That we're actually, it's almost like a full circle moment for me when I recognized and realized that we were in the same community that my grandparents were in 1950s.
My grandmother and my grandfather were just very loving peoples to my recollection, and like we always went over there for dinners. We had huge dinners. You got to realize this is a big family. Anybody who knows me knows that I have a big family, and we had huge dinners that they would have the tables, like three tables, maybe 2 tables, and 1 big tables for the kids, 1 big tables for the adults, always in their home in Brampton.
Growing up in a household rich with history and stories of courage, Estelle learned the importance of family and community from an early age. Estelle married Austin Blackburn, a Montserrat native who immigrated to Canada as a young boy. Together, they built a life in Toronto, but their journey would soon lead them to Brampton.
I remember the first time, the memories I have of my mother and father is on a place called Dunraven, where unfortunately my father accidentally blew up the house.
My father had an accident. He loved to mix different concoctions for cleaning cars and stuff like that, and he ended up blowing the house up. And I know he was really hurt too much, but the house was condemned. You couldn't live in it no more. And my mother put her foot down and says, I want to get a new house. They sold the lot and moved to Brampton.
They became the first black family in the area, purchasing a home on Campbell Drive for $12,500. Despite facing an immediate petition to remove them, Estelle's strength and determination never wavered.
There was some kind of a petition going out to get them off of the street, but they got a lawyer who was a good friend of my father's, and my sister can attest to this, and they beat it. Yeah, they beat it.
Back then, they didn't understand that we were people too, you know. So we had to basically work our way through a few challenges, you know, as a young, to be try to be as diplomatic as I can.
Back then, it's not like now. Brampton today is completely different from the Brampton I grew up in. They were having a concert, a minstrel show, and all the kids were in blackface, and they said I didn't have to be in blackface. While my mom, well, you can imagine, my mom and dad did not like that at all. They went to the school, and they give them what for. They pulled me out of the minstrel show, and they never had another one again. I mean, you know, now that I look back after all these years, ignorance is bliss, I guess. So, but my parents wasn't gonna stand for me being thought of as less than, ever.
She had to deal with this community as a black woman on different councils or different auxiliaries. And I'm sure the voice of the black people were not very present at that time. So she gave us a voice. And that's something that is appreciated, you know, through all that she did.
Brampton was very different back then. I remember my brother Bobby was playing in the club, and I went to the club with some friends of mine, and they told me I wasn't allowed in there. And my brother came out and said, "What's the problem?" And I said, "They don't want it. They said it was a private club and I'm not allowed." Bobby said, "We'll pack up and leave." They gave me a membership. They told me to come in, and they welcomed me after that, because they said they refused to play if they didn't let me in. And that's the only time that I can remember in Brampton of being, you know, told that I can't do something because I'm black.
My father, he was an entrepreneur, self-taught, very well educated, very soft-spoken. He taught me basically how to sing and how to meet people who don't particularly care for you, like they're a bit prejudiced. He taught me how to have patience with them and how to handle people like that, and that has saved me a lot of problems during my lifetime.
Though they faced some prejudice in Brampton, it did not stop them from making many friends and becoming good citizens. They joined the Northwood Estates Ratepayers Association, and Estelle formed a ladies' auxiliary. As president, she led fundraising initiatives to enhance the playground on Campbell Drive and installed lighting in the park for children to play ball in the summer and skate in the winter.
Our neighbors really loved my mom, so they invited her to join the ladies' auxiliary for Northwood Park, and she ended up being president. And she built a park right across the road from Camel Drive. That's still there today.
Estelle was a proponent of black history, was kept her family engulfed in black history, and she loved people. She just loved people and plants and food.
She was the best cook on the face of the earth. The second best was my dad. My dad learned from my grandmother, and I mean, she would make things that you would never eat today, but honestly, they were the best foods, and I could still taste them.
And she just loved to cook that pickled pig's feet. She loved the peas and rice. Like, she was something else. She could cook.
Estelle was a strong-willed, free spirit who loved to garden, fish, play cards, and was a fantastic cook. Family and friends always looked forward to Christmas dinners, birthday parties, and the annual family picnic in Owen Sound's Harrison Park, especially to taste her hot sauce, peas and rice, pig's feet, and other homemade delights.
My great-grandfather came up through the Underground Railroad from Kentucky, and they settled just south of Owen Sound in a place called Holland Landing there. Every year we have the Emancipation Picnic and Festival. And the Emancipation is a picnic is the longest running festival and picnic in North America. 162 years or 163 years this year. And we always went to that picnic, and all the relatives would go to that picnic.
History of our time here in Canada started through the Underground Railroad, through my grandmother's side. The earliest that we were in Canada, my grandfather's from the West Indies. He came up here later, but in the early 1800s, when there was, of course, slavery in the U.S., and it was in 1834 is when Canada was past we're emancipated peoples. Were emancipated in 1834 here in Canada because they're part of the British Isles. That's when, between slavery in the States, which didn't get emancipated until 1863, they came up, and he came up through the Underground Railroad.
They belonged to the United Negro Improvement Association and the Home Services and different things like that. And later on, I also became a member of the UNIA, and we put on dinners for people, and that was from my mother's, influence.
Estelle's leadership extended beyond her street. She was a driving force behind various community projects, always striving to improve the lives of those around her. Her husband, Austin, even after retirement, continued to contribute by running an upholstery and rug cleaning business, Sensation Shampoo, providing job opportunities to community members and family.
Like my dad, he, as I told you, manufactured all-purpose cleaner. So he was out selling that shampoo, right? But when we were in the house, they were a team. Mom's cooking, he's cleaning. He's cooking, she's cleaning. They worked together. And that's why everything was so successful.
I remember 1945. That's the year the Great War, Second World War ended. And I remember all my relatives coming back from the war, from Europe. When they come back, they all would come to our house, and my mother, Aunt Estelle's place, and she'd always have hospitality for them, and they would be happy to get back to solid ground after coming over on a boat and getting to see somebody that they love.
We had a lot of relatives that were in the war, so they would come to our house after the war. They would come to our house on Ossington. I remember my cousins, my uncle, in their uniforms. I was only small, but I would look up to them and just wonder what, they were just amazing because they were different. They had on uniforms, and we weren't used to that.
I think about how far we have come because of what our parents did. And because I can think generationally, I think of how far my parents came because of what their parents did, and right down to our great-great-grandfather who escaped slavery to come to Canada. So when I think about that, I think of the fact that we're all standing on the shoulders of those who came before us.
Austin and Estelle had 5 children, Gary and Neville, both deceased, Diane, Bobby, and Angela. While living, they had 15 grandchildren and 3 great-grandsons. Today, the extended Blackburn family includes several grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren.
As far as the lineage, we're talking in general of the Blackburn lineage in this country and in this southern Ontario, I think that my role is to teach the history through my music, and not just teach, but just remind people that there's Black Canadians that have been here for hundreds of years and that have contributed to society for hundreds of years. I think it's my duty as a singer-songwriter just to keep that in my music.
I think that both of them contributed quite a bit to the Brampton Society. I know they contributed a lot to our lives, and it will continue through our kids. The legacy will continue because we teach what we're taught. So it just trickles down, gets stronger and stronger.
The Blackburns have a rich heritage in Brampton, and that heritage is living on in the Blackburns that are still here. Even though my grandparents are gone, there's still Blackburns represented who are giving back to the community of Brampton. So when I think of Brampton, I think of Blackburn. When I think of Blackburns, I also think of Brampton, because we're inextricably connected. And now here we are, the next generation, and we're still in the community, and we're still giving back and living that legacy.
Love and peace, a special blend. Look around your folks and find yourself a friend. Then together, you'll all find your happiness.
Estelle Blackburn passed away on February 11th, 1987, and Austin Blackburn passed away on January 9th, 1990. Their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren continue to honor their legacy, carrying forward the values and spirit that Estelle and Austin embodied.
There was a time all I want to do is be like you, all through the day, all through the night, working so hard, oh, my heart is distressed. Under your wing, you have shown us what we needed to learn. Practice your part, play from the heart. I said, you are my hero. You are part of my Canadian song. You are my hero from then till now. Part of my Canadian song. Singing the song. You have shown us what we needed to learn. I'm with a vengeance, respect my descendants. Power to the people, oh your love it's so real. You are my hero. You are part of my Canadian song. You are my hero. From then till now, part of my Canadian song. You are my hero. You are part of my Canadian song. You are my hero. From then till now. Now here we are. We are singing the song to you. People will move, people will groove, clapping their hands, oh the people stand. I want you to know that we thank you for all you've done. Care for our brothers, sisters and mothers. Care for our fathers, brothers, sisters and mothers. You are my hero. You are part of my Canadian song. You are my hero. From then till now, part of my Canadian song. You are my hero. You are part of my Canadian song. You are my hero. From then till now, part of my Canadian song. Part of my Canadian song. Part of my Canadian song. Part of my Canadian song.